Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast to the protection against heavy rain and flooding, by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe.
Imagine the following situation. You are at home in your bedroom, you lay in your bed, it's so nice, but then it's Monday morning, you wake up and you gotta go to work, or in the Middle East it's even on Sunday you have to go to work, and but you don't feel really well. It seems like you get a cold and a cough. Sickness is approaching. So if it is really serious, you will go to the doctor. And what will the doctor do? He will say, okay, take off your clothes, open your mouth, show me your tongue. So there will be an examination of your body. And then you get a prescription for the pharmacy. You will finally get your medicine. You apply the medicine, the medication. You stay at home and you wait until you are healed. If you are not in a position to pay for the best medical treatment, at least you can get that one step cheaper. And the treatment may then take a little longer until you are cured. So, welcome for another episode of Flood Protection Secrets. And when it comes to flood protection, you will be flooded if the protection doesn't work 100%. The longer the heavy rain or flooding of the neighborhood lasts, the greater the risk of being flooded and losing everything. And that is a difference to the medical example when you are not able to pay for the best medical treatment. So a little bit less might take longer. That is what you can see when sportsmen are getting sick. They have an injury or something, and then you wonder that 2 weeks later they play again, so they can participate to do the sport again. And in your case, at home, you suffer several weeks because you did not pay for the best medical treatment. But at the end, your sickness will also be treated, and you will get well after a while. So in flood protection, you should not gamble. You should not play with that. It has nothing to do with gambling. That was wrong. So the protection must work 100%. However, if you are not able to pay 100% because you simply don't have the budget, then you must be willing to bear the risk. In the case of flood protection, it means nothing else than to accept that my building, my garden, my garage, for homeowners, is perhaps not protected enough. If the flood protection doesn't work, then you have to bear the risk. Imagine the following situation. Now we switch from Monday. During the week, you get healed and you were suffering a little bit. But now it's Saturday and 10 o'clock in the morning, you have a day off, hooray, a weekend. You want to drive to the supermarket, you sit in your car, but your car is not driving properly. A strange noise sounds up, and you realize you cannot drive a car with only 3 wheels. You need 4 to have a stable car. Reducing the quantity of the wheels is not a good idea. What a crazy example. Now, but imagine a car with 3 wheels. Yeah, here we are again.
Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe.
I should put this my finger on this button more frequently, at least that I know that there is still some text following. Anyway, it was too much fun to. If you could see me how I record this podcast, I'm in front of my podcaster unit that looks like a keyboard with several colored buttons, and behind every button there is one noise, and that's what I'm using. But let's go back to our example I was telling you about the car with the three wheels, and that is definitely not a good idea. Now, let's go to the next week. Imagine now it's Wednesday evening, 10 p.m., and you are sitting on your sofa watching the news with the weather forecast on TV, and unexpectedly heavy rainfall is forecast for that night. You decide to install the flood protection barriers on site. You bought the barriers 2 years ago, and you're relatively relaxed because you know, I'm ready. Nothing can happen to me and my family. No sooner said than done. After you have installed the removable flood barriers, so we call it demountable flood barriers, you go back into your house and wait out the bad weather. As waiting is boring, you switch on the TV and watch a film. Then at 1:30 a.m. after midnight, strong winds kick up and you know the worst is about to happen. The rain is coming soon. And indeed, after 10 minutes, the first light rain starts. Nothing worse happens for another 20 minutes. You think you've done your activities for nothing. Better to have gone to bed earlier than to have waited for nothing, right? Suddenly, the noise outside gets louder. It sounds as if hell is opening its gates. The rain gets heavier and heavier, and after 15 minutes, you can see the first drift on the street in front of your house. But that's not all. The rain increases and the current gets stronger and stronger. After another 10 minutes, it turns into a stream that floods the whole neighborhood. You can see that your neighbor's property is flooded. All the beautiful flowers are destroyed by the strong and fast flow of water. And what's that? The expensive barbecue simply floats away before your eyes and is carried over the fence. You thought to yourself, fortunately, that can't happen to me. I've invested in flood barriers, flood protection, flood defense, and these barriers weren't that expensive, remember? But what is it? Water is running across the floor in your kitchen, and then suddenly there's a loud noise. You walk through the already wet floor to the window and just see the garden door being deformed by a huge wave coming from the side of the road, giving way to the masses of water. The wave you're looking now looks like a tsunami in your garden. It floods the whole garden and your patio. Oh no, the beautiful garden that has been lovingly planted over the years is destroyed. Just like the neighbor's garden without flood protection barriers. But haven't you invested in flood barriers? And now they no longer work? How can that be? You say to yourself, okay, I've lost my garden. That was the first line of defense, but my house is still protected. I've invested more money and secured all the doors on my house, my building, the main door, the side door, and the patio door, your second line of defense, are the protection at your house. The back door to the kitchen is leaking, or rather the flood protection barrier is leaking. More and more water is seeping into your kitchen and from there into the neighboring living room with its expensive Persian carpet. And you hear yourself say, why is this happening to me? And the other people as well. But why to me? Because I invested in flood barriers already. You try to absorb the leaking water from the floor with sponges and towels that you find around the house, but to no avail. More and more water gets into your house that you can't shovel away. It's like a rowing boat. If more rain comes in that you can shovel out over the railing, the boat fills up and ends up sinking. That's what's happening to your beautiful house. You can't stop it. You start sobbing loudly and crying. You've lost your entire investment in your inventory, not to mention the damage to the garden and the brickwork, the doors and the windows. all your hard-earned money is gone. Your savings that you were going to spend on your 2 children's education, your savings that you were going to spend on a new car and a trip to Europe with your spouse, all gone in one night. So what happened? Why didn't your flood protection measures work as predicted? After 2 weeks, you spoke to a business friend and he told you that his flood barriers worked pretty well as predicted and he doesn't understand why they didn't work for you. Then you realize that your flood barriers were only 19 millimeters thick, while his were 57 millimeters thick. Your flood barriers had a sheet thickness of 2 millimeters, while your friend's flood barriers are 3 to 5 millimeters thick. What a difference! You realize that you have brought scrap. And you realize that you need at least 3 of the thin barriers to replace one of your friend's working flood barriers. And then it's still not clear whether these sheep profiles can withstand the water pressure at all. Thickness alone, thickness, not the sickness from the doctor. Thickness alone is not everything. The sealing system also plays an essential role. So a sheep barrier will buckle, warp, and the seal can no longer seal. You will be flooded. And that's the difference. The so-called sheep barrier was actually of cheap quality. The thickness of the sheet metal was extremely thin. The thickness of the beam of the removable, demountable flood barrier profile was extremely thin. Only a third of the real barrier. And your sheep barrier was not certified by a reputable testing center. Among other things, the tightness is tested up to 2 meter 10 for 72 hours. So it's 3 days. And this is done by hitting a 40 kilogram face over and over again. A 40 kilogram wooden block over and over again. It's like someone repeatedly hitting your barrier with a sledgehammer. A good barrier retains its shape, does not warp or twist, and the seal remains intact and seals. Your friend's flood barrier has been certified, you ask him, by FM Global, FM ANSI Class 2510, tested and certified flood barrier in the USA. FM Global is the world's, I have to explain that perhaps, FM Global is the world's largest insurance company for industrial and commercial buildings, headquartered in Rhode Island, USA. The company has the world's largest testing facility for building materials. 1 in 3 Fortune 1000 companies use this insurance. You only get a police if you use their certified materials, including certified flood barriers, in case you need them. Why do you think that is? Because the risk of damage is so low that the insurance company will give you a favorable contract at a low price. After all, you are using certified building materials. And that makes all the difference. That's what made your friend's flood barriers withstand the impact of the water masses, including the kinetic energy of the waves. And your sheep barriers did not. There's an expression: those who buy cheap pay twice. Those who buy sheep pay twice. Yeah, when it comes to flood protection, there are 3 important pieces of advice you should bear in mind. I want to mention them to you at the end of this episode. Advice number 1 is planning. Start with serious and thorough planning, whether it is called project planning, engineering assessment, or technical inspection. This is money well spent. As a result, you will receive information about 4 outcomes. Outcome A gives you the right technology. Outcome B gives you the necessary civil works. Outcome C gives you the design sketches. Outcome D, your real budget without surprises at the end. I call it the no surprise budget. And these are the 4 outcomes of after the planning. And that was advice 1. Advice 2 is only choose a company that has a proven track record of working with certified products. Do you remember my example? your barrier was, in my example, your barrier was only 90 millimeters thick, and the one from your friend, from your business friend, 57 millimeters. By the way, that is a real example that happened to us in Manila in the Philippines recently, some weeks ago, when we heard one of our customers say that his friend used the cheap ones. So our customer used the good ones, our flat barriers, and that was the opposite thing. But then it came out that these barriers only measured 90 millimeters, and that is why I repeated this example here in this flood protection episode. So advice 2: only work with a company that has a proven track record of working with working with certified products. My advice number 3 is: don't just work with sales representatives. They have, now listen, they have all my own employees and agents, but I don't talk about the employees. Please wait until I have finished my sentence. So don't just work with sales representatives. They have no idea about flood protection normally. They usually sell many other products. They only want to sell you their product and do not consider other scenarios or options. Because flood protection is an architectural and engineering challenge. It is not a supply where you purchase things. You must always consider the building structure. You must have an idea about engineering and architectural designs. If not, it might be that the solution simply doesn't work. Or that is another inquiry what we just have on our table. The customer wants to purchase some flood barriers, and when I saw these photos, it was immediately clear that in several of these entrances, it is impossible to install the flood barriers because there are obstacles and the building doesn't allow to install the barriers as predicted. And there are several accessories that you also need to purchase that you have a long lifetime, etc. And all these things very often are forgotten because the people simply work with only sales representatives without having the background knowledge. Our sales representatives always include us when it comes to the technical discussion. Their task is to give the first information to the customers, check the needs, and then we always have a discussion, either it is online or on-site with the customer. As an example for advice number 1, that I said advice number 1 was a planning. I recommended working with several companies. Flood Control Asia is Corporation, for instance, in the Philippines. Flood Control International in Tavistock in the UK, or in New York, or Flood Control Australia, or AS Stepanek KG in Limburg, Germany. They use certified products and have experience since 1990. We also use Anham Klappschott, Anham Flip Up Flood Barriers. Klappschott is a German word for it in a way, with a certified FM approved certified product. I also want to mention that, of course. And the invention of modern flood barriers comes from, by the way, from AS Stepanek KG. So that means they are the originals. I can say it this way: we are the originals when we talk about it. So there's a long year experience, or an experience over the years, since 1990, from all continents in the world. So that is the planning, because these companies do a planning. They offer it. They don't only supply. If you insist as a customer, supply, okay, you can purchase it. But if I see that it doesn't work, I don't sell it to you. Simple as it is. Advice number 2, That was my advice about that you only choose a company that has a proven track record of working with certified products. The demountable flat barrier, the unautomatic flip-up flat barrier, and the glass-paneled flat barrier. Yes, there's a glass-paneled flat barrier. It's a permanent flat barrier, but it can also be moving if it is installed together with a sliding gate in front of harbor entrances, for instance, and you still want to have the nice view. Then you use glass. What has been done already? They are all certified by FM Global. And that's the difference between a cheap and flimsy barrier that protects you and the flat barrier certified by the world's largest insurance company from the USA that is robust, can withstand the effects of strong waves, extreme heat and cold, or can even be manufactured for salty environments. And my advice 3, you remember, don't just work with sales representatives only. The representatives operate in many countries, our representatives as an example. But when it comes to technology, advice is provided by the local head office in each region. So for Asia, it is Flood Control Asia, located in the Philippines, and responsible for activities, flood protection activities from the Middle East to the Far East, from Middle East to Far East. And these are the 3 examples. And the title today was how to get cheap flood barriers. And low prices are very attractive. Yes, they are. That is what we see again and again. However, our customers at the end, sometimes they also tell us, we were attracted by the price, but then when we saw the product, we were starting to think, because the customers are not stupid. It is about their safety, so they will investigate very well whether they trust such a thing or not. It is something different if you buy a cheap T-shirt compared to an expensive one with better quality. Not only a brand that perhaps even don't have this high-end quality, but a very cheap T-shirt, okay, but it's not doing any harm. You wear it, and perhaps after 1 year or 2 years, you throw it away because it's out of shape. The color is not good anymore, and you look a little bit funny in it when you wear it. Compared to a good one, I still have a good shirt from Lacoste. I can mention the brand. I bought it. I think that is more than 35 or 40 years ago. Oh, 35, I think. Before that was another size. So the quality is still good, amazing, and the color is still good. So that is real good. And at this time, these shirts for tennis were really expensive, but it was really worth it. It has paid off over the years so many times, and I'm very happy about that. So at the end, I want to close and finish this flood protection episode today with my golden nugget for you. So always invest in planning before you ask your buyers, your procurement department, or the people who purchase the flood barriers for you to purchase flood barriers. So always invest in planning. If you don't, that was my advice 1 before above. If you don't know what to buy, the procurement, I say, they will buy the cheapest flood barriers. Of course, that's their job. And as you've heard from me today, those are the ones that won't work and will put you and your investment at risk. Do you want to take the risk of using up all your savings? Don't look for cheap products. You can look for products that offer an excellent cost-benefit ratio. If you want to know more about it, please contact me directly. I would be happy to give you additional information. I hope my message is clear when it comes to cheap products and how to get them. So it's attractive, but at the end, you suffer a lot and you might lose all your hard-earned money. Yeah. If this flood protection episode has inspired you to rethink your approach to flood protection, stay tuned for more episodes like this, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights from the world of flood protection. My personal guidance, reach out to us or to me. My name for personal guidance. So if you want to know more about it. My name is Andreas Klippe. Stay safe and flood free. I wish and hope for you that you make the right decisions when it comes to your personal flood protection. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to this podcast channel if you haven't already. Now it only remains for me to wish you a good day. Do something with it. Maybe until the next podcast episode. I would be very happy. See you then. As always, stay safe and flood free. Your Andreas Klippe and the whole Flood Experts team.
That's it again with the new episode of Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood Andreas Klippe, German engineer, book author, and head of the Flood Experts. What can Dr. Flood Andreas Klippe protect for you? Anytime? Worldwide? Contact us or just click through to www.floodexperts.de/bonus. Detailed engineering, German quality, safe. Flood protection secrets. The secrets you'll want to unfold.
Don't forget, you're only one flood barrier away.
Subscribe to the season, and you'll never be late for an episode.